The first step in making your suppressor is to make sure that you get your tax stamp. It's important that you do this so that you don't run into trouble with the ATF. You don't want to mess with the government on this topic. Once you've got your tax stamps, you can go ahead and build your suppressor. I've provided 3 of my own suppressors. They're all different models. Basically, you can have a solid monocore. You can do a combination with a monocore and some baffles and some spacers. Or you can just go with straight baffles and spacers. So what makes a suppressor suppress sound? Basically, what you're trying to do is trap the gases and delay their release from the gun. So you can do that by providing a large volume suppressor, making a really big suppressor. But that's not always the most practical thought because that's got to be on the end of your rifle and it makes it harder to carry. You can also do it by getting intricate with your designs and redirecting the gases, making them go through various different chambers before they can exit the gun. And another way is to provide a lot of surface area to take in the heat of the gases and cool the gases down before they get to the end of your suppressor. I found that for all of my suppressors, one being for the model 4570, one for 308, and one for 22 long rifle, that size has been key. All of these suppress to hearing safe levels, but they all have a little room for improvement, and the one major way that I could do that is by making them bigger and having more volume on the inside. So it's all about deciding how big do you want your suppressor to be versus how effective do you want it to be. To properly fill out your form, if you're going to submit it by mail, which does take longer but you can still do, you're going to need to fill out all these areas. First, you're going to need to say what type of application it is. Usually it's tax paid. I don't think that you're going to be exempt from this. After that, you need to say who is submitting the application. It's either an individual, a trust, or a government entity. All 3 that I have done, I've just done as an individual. Then you need all of your information or the information of the trust, which is the address and the name and the city and the state and all of that stuff. Then you'll specify what type of firearm it is, and you'll just put a suppressor or a silencer here. Then you'll state the caliber or gauge, the overall length, and you need to provide a serial number. And typically, if you're making your own suppressor, you're just providing whatever serial number you choose. And then you need to state your reason for wanting to make it, and the most common answer is just to reduce hearing loss. After that, you'll mark no here, where it says, is this firearm being reactivated? Because no, it's not. You're building something brand new. Then make sure you sign and then provide the name of the person that's doing this paper, which is yourself, and then the date. After that, you're going to go onto the back. If you're doing, you're going to need to fill out your CLEO information, or your chief law enforcement officer. You can use your police chief or your sheriff, something like that, but you need to provide the department name, the official name, and then the address. Then you're going to answer all these questions, which are the same questions that you have whenever you buy a firearm. And then you're going to need to attach a picture of yourself. Usually it's a passport picture. However, I just took a picture that looked nice and then I cut it out to this size and I taped it to the page. Then at the bottom of here, you're going to need to sign and date again. If you're filing as a trust, you'll need to fill out this information up here. I haven't done that because I've never filed as a trust before. And then you need to provide your payment information. Building a suppressor does take a lot of work, but in the end I do feel like it's worth it. Ever since I finished my suppressor for my 4570, I've loved shooting my gun with it. So just make sure that you go through all the proper channels and do it legally. And then once you've done that, you can go ahead and build it. Remember, size is key to reducing noise. You've got to choose how big you want to have it. You can have it as big as you want, just make sure it's not an inconvenience to you. And then if you don't want to fill out a paper application, the ATF just recently reopened their e-forms page online, and that only takes about 2 to 3 weeks instead of 6 to 12 months to process, and it's much quicker to do.